Ladies and gentlemen, how the devil are we all doing? It's a nauseous Gormond, and in this video we're taking a look at 8 things that Fallout 76 desperately needs. I know the title said 5 things, but 8 just looks bloody ridiculous in my opinion. Now I will say before we start, I'm not going to be talking about obvious things like bug fixes. I'm talking about actual physical content that needs adding to the game. Anyhow, without further ado, let's take a look at what I've come up with. So to kick it off, we're going to start with a better trading system. Now some of you may be thinking, TNG, what's wrong with the current trade system? If I want to buy something off another player, I can do. No issues whatsoever. And you know what? You're right. As demonstrated by my friend here, Lobby76, go check out his channel. He can quite happily buy one of my grenades off me for 2 caps. No problems whatsoever, job's a good un. However, say if I had a god roll fixer, and Lobby had a god roll railway rifle I wanted, and we'd agreed to trade. There is currently no safe or secure way to do that. You can only buy things for caps, not trade. So it kind of raises a question, doesn't it? How are you going to do it if there's no item for item trading? Well, you've got 2 options. You're either A, extremely bloody trusting, or B, you hire a courier. And yeah, you know what? There is a hell of a lot of courier pages, mainly on Facebook, and for the most part, they do a bloody decent job. But in my opinion, in a game like this, you shouldn't have to get a player-made courier to do a bloody trade. It should be something that's in the game, shouldn't it, really? Aye, definitely. Now, the second option you've got is to drop your item and hope to God that the other person drops their item as well. Or alternatively, put it up for 0 caps and, you know, hope the other person does it. Honestly, guys, I'm telling you, the amount of times I've seen it on the Facebook pages before I were banned from them all of people, you know, dropping their item and getting scammed is absolutely unreal. There's literally nothing to stop somebody running off with your weapon once you've dropped it. And the guys that do it do not give a shit. Some of these weapons that they scam out of people can literally be sold on eBay for real money. Naming and shaming will not stop it. So yeah, we 110% need a proper trading system. So keeping in with the trading theme, let's move on to the second thing that I reckon the game seriously needs. A market where you can buy and sell items across multiple servers. Let me explain a little bit further. So in most online games, there's like a central trading hub. RuneScape has the Grand Exchange, Star Wars The Old Republic has the Galactic Trade Network, and I'm sure World of Warcraft has something similar. I don't know, I've never played it. It's just a bloody example. Anyhow, I digress. Instead of having to visit 97 people's camps and server hopping a million times in one evening to not find the weapon you want, why not just have a terminal? It doesn't have to be anything complicated, just a simple terminal where you can go to and choose the item you want to sell or look for items that you want to buy across multiple servers. Now, you may think this is all too complicated for Bethesda, but let's remember, they're a AAA game studio. And again, games like RuneScape, they probably work on a quarter of the budget of what Bethesda has, and they've managed it, and the game's 20 bloody years old. Now, I'm no game developer, but I'm guessing that it is 110% doable. Bethesda just can't be arsed. I don't know what else to say. I mean, just imagine it for a second, guys. A big central area on the map. I've always thought the White Springs would be bloody brilliant for this, where you could go and sell all the unwanted weapons you want instead of leaving them sitting in your vendor for 9 years. Maybe go and do some crafting at the workstations that are placed around it. Again, the White Spring already has this. I don't know, guys, it's just a couple of ideas. Personally, I think this would be a bloody belting addition. It'd get rid of the risky trades that you have to do for certain items. It'd make it a hell of a lot easier to find the weapons that you want instead of constantly grinding. And of course, as another added little bonus, it could actually make the game feel more like it's a multiplayer game. I don't know about you guys, but any other online game that I've played with a trading hub is always an hive of activity. Aye, I reckon it'd be a solid bloody addition. Right, at number 3, I've got this to throw at you, and it would be quite difficult to, you know, implement, but it would be really bloody cool. A clan system and communal building. So, you know, you could build with your mates who are in the same clan as you. Sounds good, that, doesn't it? Now, obviously, guys, I'm aware that if you invite somebody to a private team, you can build camps together, but I'm talking on a bigger scale. I'm talking settlement level. I'm talking communal stash boxes and individual buildings that are owned by players in your clan who can, you know, all have their own jobs. A blacksmith, a barman, you know, things like that. Little bit of RP going on. Or, you know, even at the lower end of the scale, at least being able to build a camp next door to your friends. And you could even take it one step further. You could have clan wars in it, so you could go to war with another settlement and you could raid each other for your supplies. I don't know, guys, that's just something I always thought would be, you know, interesting, I think the right word is. Imagine going into a camp and having to negotiate your way around a shit ton of defences that get to all the loot. That sounds, you know, pretty fun to me. At number 4, we have something else which I think would just make life so much bloody easier, especially for those of us with mule accounts. A stash box that can be accessed across multiple accounts. And again, Star Wars The Old Republic, they already do that in their game, and I'm sure many others do as well. It's just such a simple thing that would make life so much easier, because now to transfer items from character to character, you've got to go into a private world ideally, go to somewhere like the Overseer's camp for example, put your items in a stash box, log out of your world, switch your character, log back into your private world, and, you know, retrieve your items from said stash box. And I mean, come on, this isn't ideal, is it? I mean, most of the time it does work, you don't tend to have any issues, but you never know, you could get put back into a world which isn't the one you've stashed your stuff in. You know, your internet drops out or something like that, it'll cock everything up. Goodbye items. For quality of life, this would be a brilliant bloody addition. At number 5, I think it's something that's pretty obvious to all of us, we need more maps. I know they tried it with a pit, but let's face it, it's not a map, is it? You can't just go around and explore it, it's all part of an event. We need something that we can really, you know, go and have a mooch around, do some new missions, build a camp there, you know, really get stuck into it. And again, this is 110% possible. You know, just port the maps over from Fallout 4. It's the same bloody game engine. Imagine playing the Nuka World event in Nuka World itself. Obviously, it wouldn't be Nuka World on tour, but you get what I'm saying, don't you? Ah, of course you do. Polish it up a little bit, make it look a little less 200 years after the bombs and more, you know, 20 years after the bombs, and it'd be absolutely spot on. Let's be honest with ourselves here now, guys. If Fallout is going to survive, they can't just keep adding things like new events once in a blue moon. We need more area to explore, and hopefully they are going to come at some point. Coming in at number 6 on our list is play your own pet, and this is something that is most definitely achievable, because guess what? They were supposed to be introducing them a couple of seasons ago, until they decided they weren't going to introduce them, and they got delayed indefinitely. Now, of course, guys, you can actually tame animals in the game as it is, but it is an absolute ball ache to do, a proper kick in the penis. You've got to have the right perk cards equipped, you've got to have a certain level in charisma, and then the really hard part is wandering around the map to certain spawn points and finding a tameable pet, because guess what? Not all of them are tameable. And after all of that, even if you get supremely lucky and get yourself a pet for your camp, it's then going to make its way all the way back across the map to your actual camp and somehow survive. And oh, of course, I forgot to mention, players can kill your pets, as can the environment apparently. Ask me how I know. Right then, so what have we got next? Ah yeah, a PvP arena. An actual place where people who want to fight each other can go and, you know, fight each other. You could literally place this down anywhere, and I'm sure it'd be very bloody popular. There's no nuclear winter anymore, PvP in the game itself is utterly broken, so having somewhere to fight where you could, you know, set rules on what weapons are used and whether consumables are allowed, for example, would be absolutely bloody fantastic. Simply lovely. You know what? Come to think of it, you could even make a weekly scoreboard out of it and be able to place bets on fights or take part in fights that win money. Call it Wasteland Gladiators or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyhow, we come to the last thing on the list, and it is quite simple, and we've been wanting it for bloody ages. Placeable junk items in your camp. And what do I mean by this? Well, if you give me a minute, I'll tell you. Think of all the crap you can find littered around the wasteland. Typewriters, fans, pieces of random wood, you know, that kind of good stuff. Why can't we place that down at our camps? The best thing we've got is display cabinets, and they don't look very immersive, do they? Nah, they definitely don't. In my opinion, if I have a desk and I want to place down a typewriter on it, I should be able to place down a bloody typewriter, or even a toaster. I don't know, whatever takes your fancy. Now, they did introduce something along these lines with the shooting targets, you know, the little golf ball, the glass bottles, the whatever the bloody hell else it is, can't remember. But it's just not enough, is it? We want more. It would truly add a whole new level to camp building. It is definitely 100% needed, along with stuff like, you know, roof wallpaper and placeable textures, you know, like a shitty patch on wall or something like that. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know down in comments, do you agree with these points? Is there anything else you can think of? And while Bethesda will never probably see this video, on the off chance that they do, I'll do you a deal. I'll trade you Wasteland Gladiators for a free bloody chair. As ever, I'd like to say a massive thank you to all my Patreons and channel members. The extra support is much appreciated. If that's something that any of you lot are interested in, the link's down in the description, along with all my socials and whatnot. As we say it north, I'll love you and leave you, and I'll catch you next.